Hi viewers and welcome to yet another review. I am your host Archivist, and today we will be taking a look at the Deep Space RTS, Sins of a Solar Empire, Rebellion. The Sins series is known for its enormous scale and meticulous attention to detail. Will this solar strategy game become a star, or collapse in on itself over its own overwhelming scale? To kick things off, let's take a look at the story in Sins. Now, while there is no campaign mode, each faction has its own backstory and is given a reason to fight. The brief summary is given in the opening cinematic, creating a context for the game you are about to play. While it would be fair to say that this is quite a rushed method of telling a story, the nature of the gameplay has a way of justifying it. Every match you play will last a considerable amount of time, whereas in a strategy game such as StarCraft, matches rarely spill over an hour. The matches here can span several days at a time. Now, if a story was to be implemented around this, it would feel fragmented and forgettable. It's hard to keep track of a story when so much enormous focus is on the gameplay. With regards to the gameplay, for a real-time strategy, Sins benefits greatly from a sense of individuality. You start with just one planet, a shipyard, and some construction vessels. But before long you will have built a small fleet of frigates and a capital ship to go out and conquer other planets. Once these planets have been conquered, you may establish a colony on them in order to generate income. Additionally, extractors can be built on asteroids orbiting the planet to gain metal and crystal. Credits, metal and crystal are the game's three primary resources, meaning the more planets you own, the more rich and powerful you become. Moreover, choosing which ships to build for the right situation is key to besting your opponent. A good admiral will combine frigates, cruisers, capitals and the new Titan class ships for the most effective combination. Your standard frigates make the bulk of your army and are the cheapest to construct. The cruisers on the other hand are far more specialised. For example, they may house squadrons of fighters or act as tactical hubs. One echelon up and we come to capital ships. These are powerful and expensive to make. They have strong hulls, tough shields, deadly weaponry, and useful tactical abilities. Lastly, the Titan is one of a kind among your fleet, a true beast on the battlefield. It is best thought of as a super capital ship. Following on, while these warships are all well and good for the offensive player, there are also many options for a defensive one. For example, a planet under your control can have stationary turrets built in its orbit, or perhaps even fighter squadron hangars. More advanced players may even opt for planetary shields or a starbase. Starbases are unique to each faction, each having slight advantages over the other. For example, the Visari starbase is the only one capable of moving. They can be upgraded to hold their own colonies or act as auxiliary shipyards. Additionally, each one is equipped with powerful defensive capabilities. Essentially, starbases are Death Stars minus the planetary obliteration beam, and luckily without the ridiculous one-shot, one-kill weakness. While the game works in a real-time manner, it has some of the attributes of a turn-based strategy. However, these are cleverly disguised in a form of light speed. Whereas players may directly control ships within the orbit of a planet, they cannot freely control them in deep space. So instead, if you were to tell your ships to go to another planet, they would move to the edge of their current orbit and then initiate a light speed jump. While mid-jump, the player has no control over the ship. Moving on, the graphics in the game are also fairly impressive when considering the sheer number of ships that can be in motion at one time. Every orbital structure and every frigate showcase an impressive amount of detail, with no noticeable blurred textures. Also, in this expansion, dynamic shadows have been added that are cast over structures by great capital ships and titans. The planetary bodies are also sufficiently detailed. Nebulas have a nice ethereal effect, whereas stars emit just the right amount of bloom to create a pleasing majestic effect. When a planet's infrastructure has been invested in, you can see small points of detail indicating your planet's growing population. One little detail I have always loved is the ability to zoom in on a squadron fighter as they perform evasive manoeuvres throughout the battle. Comparatively, these fighters are minuscule compared to even the most basic frigate, and so the developers could have very easily avoided giving their models too much detail. Luckily, however, the exact opposite is the case, as you are even able to see reflections of light from the cockpit. Finally, we move on to the lasting appeal of this game, As I've already mentioned, the games in Sins can last days at a time, even more so if you choose to particularly large galaxies. However, please bear in mind that when I say days, I do mean saving games and returning to them later. Please do not try and complete a 500 planet scenario in a single sitting. Not only can a single game match the playtime of a first person shooter's entire campaign, but there are also 3 different factions to choose from, all slightly different from each other. I wish there could be a bit more variation between them, but in a game already so complex perhaps it would have been too much. Lastly, there is also a research system that allows for the player to specialise in different available playstyles. Naturally, this encourages players to come back time and time again to try new and exciting ways of conquering the galaxy, and even the universe. In conclusion, Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion is an excellent real-time strategy that operates on an unparalleled scale. This game is a bit of a hidden gem, and so if you find yourself enjoying it, definitely try to mention it to someone you know. I award Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion for PC a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching, see you next time.